Okay, this is Jim Bryan's Train lap book, and this one is really long. The front cover, I don't know if you can see that, we found on just a Google site, I can't remember the name of it, but they had this image, and on the train it says, "Train up a child in the way he should go." And then over here it says, "Jesus for Sunday School Express." So that's the front of it, and we cut it down the middle, and then you turn it to open the lap book. So you open the sides, and this is a 3-folder lap book. Oh, I'm sorry, before I go on, the websites that I received these information, all the cutouts from were homeschoolshare.com and lapbooksbycarissa.homestead.com. So I just want to make sure that I give credit. Again, we opened it up, and the verse on the front was from Proverbs chapter 22, verse 6. Then we open it up on the sides, and over here it says, "What is a crummy?" And Jim Bryan knows that's a caboose. And then train opposites. So long, old, uphill, and of course. And then you just flip them, and it tells you the opposite of it. And then over here, we had, when you flip it open again, and again, this is a 3-folder lap book that we did. When you flip it open again, you see the front of this that says special kinds of train cars. And then we have the cattle car, the gondola, the hopper, and the tank car. So, and then I just found some train tracks on a website and printed those off and taped on the side. And then over here we had circus counting train, or circus train counting the cars by numbers, and it goes all the way up to number 10. And then over here, the circus train counting animal cars. So to play the game, you match up the one animal with the number 1, and number 2 animal with the number 2, and so forth. And then here, this Thomas worksheet, Jim Bryan likes Percy. If anyone on here knows anything about Thomas and Friends, Jim Bryan really likes Percy, and Percy is green. And on here, I went to the thomasandfriends.com website to print those off. He goes to that website a lot and plays their games on there on the computer. So you can fold this back in, and then this side flips open to train poems and songs, and a peanut sat on a railroad track, train wheels down by the station, little red caboose, the Happy Day Express, and working on the railroad. And then over here in the middle of the whole thing, we derived our story from, we used Philippians chapter 4:13 to get the little engine that could. And over here, once you flip this open, it is the verse. "I can do all things through Christ which strengtheneth me," Philippians 4:13. So that folds down. And then over here, I figured since this was all done in different colors that I would put colored trains on here for Jim Bryan. And just flip these open. And I was so proud of him today. I figured out a way so he wouldn't just color so erratic, just erratic everywhere and just scribbling everywhere. I made a box and out of just cardboard and taped it on the areas that I wanted him to color in. And he wasn't allowed to go outside of the box. And of course, when his pencil or pen or whatever he was using hit this edge of the box, it kind of pushed him back towards the middle to where he was coloring. So he did so much better with his coloring today. I was so very proud of him. Our dark brown ran out, so we had to use a different one. And then that's gray, green, orange, pink, purple, red, and yellow. So he did really well with his coloring today. And then over here, we have shapes with Thomas and Friends. So you just pull that out, and it goes through a whole bunch of different shapes like circles and hearts and rectangles. And it's so funny, when I was doing these with Jim Bryan, he knows exactly who they are, and I'm like, Jim Bryan, which train is that? And then we were doing the time, the hour hand, and the minute hand, and I know that's a bit much for him, but this is a book that he can continue to learn from. But you can't get on the train without having a time on there. So these were printed off, and he's able to see that this says 1 o'clock, and then he'll match it up with the 1 over here, with 1 o'clock up here, and then he punches how many squares. So 1 o'clock, you would just hole punch 1 square, or you can color in just 1 square. And this goes all the way up to 12, so where he would just color in all 12 squares, or he could punch them with the hole punch. And then over here are the train rhyming words, and you just backtrack. Just flip that up, rails, trails, and then so forth. And then you just let the children know, or I'll let Jim Bryan know if anyone else was doing this, that the end of the word is what is rhyming. So caboose would be loose, and then bound, sound, weight, freight. And then down here was writing, learning to write the big letter T, and this flips up top, and then these flip open on the sides. And then if you open it again, we have another set of tracks, and this time we colored Toby for him to color in with. And then up here, I was able to print off some puzzles. James is red, Percy is green, so that's why I have a green paper clip with the green dot. And then up here, you take the puzzles out, and Jim Bryan loves to do puzzles. So you just mix the puzzle pieces up when he's doing them, and you put them in the order that they're supposed to be in. And I tell you, my son had it. It didn't take him very long to get it. I was like, well, where does it go? But that's how you get the pieces like that. And then there's 9 of them. And then there's also Percy over there. And then Thomas and Friends is just something that he can look at, that I slipped in there for him. So this is all about his train book. And then on the back side, there is, let's see, he printed out, or I printed this piece from dltk.com, and look where he put his eyes. The poor train is all crooked. He's not going to know where to go on the track. But this is what Jim Bryan wanted, and he painted it red, and I asked him if he wants to paint it a different color or mix some colors in there. He said, no, just red, Mom. So, like I said, James is one of his favorite cartoons on Thomas and Friends, and so is Percy, but he decided to paint this one red like James. So that is Jim Bryan's Train Lap Book.